Full disclosure, I had to remake this, but now I changed it up a bit, used my own music that I created, and it should be a good video for you guys. I hope you enjoy it. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jesse, and this is the Thrustmaster T-GT II, which is obviously the successor to the original T-GT. What comes in the box is pretty standard stuff. Unfortunately, what you get are your standard pedals with the well-known conical brake mod. Instead of including a much better load cells, Thrustmaster already has available for purchase separately. Feels like a missed opportunity if you ask me. You get your standard cables along with your 2 bolts, your 2 washers to hard mount the base, and of course you also get the wheelbase itself. You also get the optional desk clamp and a power source modeled in the shape of a turbo, which is used for many other Thrustmaster wheelbases in the past. Essentially, what you're getting is the already well-known design of the T-GT II's predecessor. The only new thing separating the two cosmetically is the T-GT II stamp in the corner, along with a chrome or silver ring around the base instead of a black ring. Thrustmaster has also decided to place a huge sticker on the base itself, which was not very easy to take off and a questionable choice in my opinion. You also get the T-GT II stamped on the back of the amazing transducer, but more on that later. The motor also gets a visual update with red ties around it instead of the black ties used previously. Other than the already mentioned changes, there's really nothing visually new to the design of the T-GT II. Here's a quick comparison of all the GT wheels designed for Gran Turismo, one more time just for comparison's sake. From the T-GT to the T-GT II and the DD Pro. You already know what you came here for, so let's check it out. Don't you just love the smell of a new wheel? Alright, here we are in the N24 and the GT3 Supra. And my first impressions right off the bat is, man, this wheel lets you feel so much more than any other wheel I've tried so far at this particular moment. You gotta remember, what I'm talking about is with Gran Turismo Sport, but if you notice right there, you know, I kind of lose control, but I'm able to catch these slides with no problem whatsoever. And I do realize that I'm cutting off to different parts of the section because who wants to watch me drive the whole entire N24? I'm cruising along in the most important parts where it's really the cornering, when you're turning, you know, when you need to catch your slides and whatever. When it came to the Thrustmaster T-GT II and the T-GT original, it was hard for me to even tell a difference. It almost felt like, well, it's the same thing, it's just the T-GT II, which isn't a bad thing. You know, at first I was thinking, well, you know, it ain't bad, you know, one wheel fails, at least you have another one, but that's not the case here. You know, as I was driving it, the more and more I was driving it, I was realizing, you know, there was a tiny bit more sensation I was feeling, you know, during my cornering sections. You know, I just felt what the car was doing a little bit more. I don't know how to explain it, if it was just when I'm turning. And before the original T-GT, you would feel the grip, you would feel the bite of the corner or whatever, and the holding torque, and it was just a mess. So I know people who actually turn their force feedback down all the way, you know, just to make their wheel light. But I'm telling you right now, you're able to control it a little bit better. I don't know what they did or what they implemented. Obviously, it's the same wheel. It even uses the same firmware. But whatever they did design-wise, they did something where you can actually feel what's happening under the car a little bit more, under cornering more than anything. It's not in a straight line. In a straight line, it feels identical. The transducer feels identical. Everything feels identical to the original TGT, except in the cornering. There's something that they've done that lets you manage the corners a little bit better. And also with the tire wear, when I was doing tire wear races, I could manage the tires a little bit better. You see right there, I almost lost it, but I was able to catch it. Typically I would lose it, even in the original TGT, but I was able to catch those slides with no problem. I mean, I'm not doing a hot lap here like, you know, my hardest hot lap. What I'm doing here is just demonstrating how the car is handling and how the wheel's handling, you know, as I drive the car here. You got to remember, it's a shame because this transducer, you feel so much, and what I mean by that is that no other game uses the transducer except for GT Sport and the upcoming GT7, which I suspect these wheels, including the DD, their full potential, you won't see them until Gran Turismo 7, because they were designed specifically with polyphony in mind. You know, using these wheels, like when this wheel came out with GT Sport. All right, here we are in St. Croix. It's Super GT Nissan. I changed the view so you could visually see what's happening instead of just putting it in the first person view. See what the car is doing. The great thing right off the bat is the granularity, the feeling you feel when you're in a straight line with this wheel. It feels like you have the road under you. It's hard to explain this, but when you're driving in real life, you feel the car, the sensation of the car through the wheel. And on the pedals as well, you feel it on the pedals and on the wheel. It's this phenomenal feeling that you don't feel with any other wheel. It's hard to describe, but it really makes you feel like you're planted on the track. You know, other wheels I've tried lack this sensation, so it just feels like you're on ice fighting all the time, fighting with the wheel. You could turn this wheel smoothly, so easily. You just know what's happening, and it's a treat, regardless if you're in a straight line or not. Now I gotta tell you guys the truth. The pedals it comes with are terrible. They're terrible, especially after the firmware update. There was this firmware update, version 10, I believe. And once you update it, you hold the left paddle shifter and press the mode button in. You hold it for 3 seconds and it blinks once it's in the non-load cell settings. And if you hold it again, it'll blink 10 times, letting you know that the load cell has been activated. So whatever settings you set in the computer to your maximum brake point and your throttle points, it'll carry over to the base, and once you do that, it always remembers it no matter what. So the next time you plug in the wheel, it's always going to know you got load cells on. So if you do get this wheel, I highly advise you guys to get load cell pedals. Don't skimp out, get the load cells, they're just great. Now, with all that set in mind, should you buy this wheel? If you are a die-hard Gran Turismo fan, absolutely, get this wheel. If you don't have the original TGT, get this wheel. However, that being said, if you already have the TGT, yeah, it's gonna be slightly better, and I'm talking like a hair, like 10-15% better. It's not gonna be a major night and day change, and you'll be all right with the TGT, especially after the latest firmware update. It brought the wheel to feel so much better. Well, I gotta go, guys. I got the DD Pro to try out and compare the two. So like, subscribe, don't like, share, don't share. I don't give a shit, guys. Just take care of yourselves. Until the next one.